Good afternoon. Good afternoon. I'm on my my lunch break. This again is going to be a rather quick one since my time is limited on this these two platforms of Instagram and Facebook. I hope that they are live. But anyway, this is called Continuing Through All of It. Now, the reason why first of all, Happy New Month. I know it's the 2nd of February, and this is the Black History Month, which, that whole thought process just annoys me, but that's another topic for another time. But anyway, the reason why I'm coming on here now is because, my speech, every time I discuss anything, I'm talking about how do we change the vibration of this planet with love. Alafia, how you doing? And why do I keep bringing this up? And, talking about loving self and uniting and shifting, loving self completely, healing, all of this in order for it to move forward. So they wanted me to get people to understand, regardless of what's going on, right? We still got to live. There are doctors out there that have got to, work on healing people. There are lawyers out there that have got to fight for people. There are people out there that are doing work from human trafficking or pedophilia or whatever the case may be. There is people out there doing a lot of work doing a lot of work as they continuously moving on. So they wanted us to know the reason why I keep bringing these things up is, regardless of what's going on, we still have to do that work on our inner self. We still have to focus or keep our focus on what we have to do, what we have to do as an individual. It's very easy to get caught up in the world as you see it. They have got so much, they've got so much ways to distract us. They've got so many fears put in our way to try and stop us from moving forward. So it's saying, regardless of what we're having to deal with, because we still have to live, we still have to grow, we still have to feed ourselves, we still have to take care of our children, we still have to work. In the midst of that, do not lose your focus on what you'd have to do about you. Do not lose the focus of staying, looking at yourself and working on being positive and loving self. Like I said, love is paramount. It is such an important energy. It's like we have lived. The energy of love is never gone anywhere, because basically that's what this is what everything is made from, that space of love, right? Yet, in the midst of trying to control people, we've been put in so many spaces of fear in order to not realize our own worth. So, and because of that, we're still fighting with the injustices, the negative stuff that's been perpetuated throughout the ages, regardless of where we come from. Okay, so in the midst of that, they do not want you to understand your greatest power, which is that space within. And so they're saying, continuing on, regardless of what is going on, there are people, like I said, there's people that are having to do the work to fight for our justice, to fight to make our stories to be told. Like I said, in this day and time, our story and this is one of the reasons why I'm saying this as well, it's Black History Month. I work in a school. The only stories that they're telling is what African Americans have done to America, what their contributions have been to America, meaning the history with the Tuskegee Air Force men or Harriet Tubman. You know what I mean? Yes, you may have a few teachers that want to bring up a few other things, right? But for the most part, that's the history that they talk about. So I'm saying, at this day and time, there's so much more about Black people and the history of Black people that needs to be taught, that needs to be brought up. And one, it shouldn't be just about one friggin' month. That's just ridiculous. But everything is put in place purposely to minimize something. Anyway, this is not a race thing at all. This is not a black or white thing, but it's just a perception, my perception of what I'm realizing with the school. So again, included in that, we have to understand that regardless of what's going on, your journey within yourself, and you knowing about yourself and loving yourself and doing the things about yourself is so important, especially with everything that's going on. The fears that they've been perpetuating. There's a video that I was sent the other day, right? What was his name? Tony Robbins was talking about how many people have died in 2020, 2019, and going back. And he's saying that the same amount of people have died, but the what you call it, the ways that they died have differed. Meaning, like, if people have died of cancer, heart disease, whatever the case may be, those things were there. But like in 2020, those other things what people died from minimized, but then COVID went up. But the same amount of people have passed away. So it's not saying that it's just what they passed away from is different. So when you hear that, it's not the same as what they're putting out there. They're very much making out that COVID is really going above and beyond. And I'm not saying people are not passing from COVID at all. I'm not saying that. But you got to realize the narrative that's being taught, because you're meant to be living in fear. Why? Because fear keeps you immobilized. And when fear keeps you immobilized, you do not move forward. You move according to what they put out there for you. And we can't do that. So again, they're saying in the midst of continuing on, regardless of what's going on, you still have to monitor yourself. You still have to understand yourself. You still have to work on yourself. It is so important. That space of reconciliation, that space of healing. And when I say healing, we all doing this healing. Black, white, rich, poor, good, bad. You make the choice whether you want to say you're good or bad. But rich, poor, whatever culture you coming from, we all have that obligation to take care of ourselves and to reconcile that space, because we all come from that space of love. And they just want us to realize that no matter what's going on, we still have to. We still have an obligation to do what we got to do. Okay, so don't forget about your purpose while you're still working and doing. People doing their bars. Two people are doing. Doctors healing people. You know what I mean. Whether you're a therapist, whatever you are, you're still got to do what you got to do. But at the same time, you got to remember to continue focusing on you. You know what I mean? We it's almost like we wear many hats in our life, and we can't allow one to override the other. We got to keep it in focus. What we're really doing. Are we really wanting to unite and change this world and change the vibration of this world? And if that's what we are doing, then we've got to make sure that we keep that as our focus. Because they will, and they are trying very hard to keep you distracted from doing that. But like I said, this was not going to be a long one. Continuing through all of it, while everything is still playing on, even while we've got the new president, we don't know what's going on there. One of the teachers brought to my attention that just in the week or so that he's been in office, he's written, I don't even know, she said quite a few executive orders. You know what I mean? I don't know what all those orders are or what that means for the majority, yet just know that we, as the majority of people, have more power than we let on, or that's been led on to us. And that power comes from that unity from within, because you can't control everybody. That's why I'm not even going to go there with the vaccine and stuff, because that's another topic in itself. But still, you got to do what you got to do. But anyway, I'm going to leave it there. Continuing on through it all, don't forget you and the loving you and the work that you got to do with you in the midst of you doing work elsewhere. I still work at school, and in the midst of me working at school, it's still allowing me to give information, to do something here. You know what I mean? I still work on myself. This is a life ongoing thing. I cannot not work on myself. So regardless of what's going on, just make sure you focus and pay attention to you and what you got to do for you and your inner being, because that's where the power is, that's where the wisdom is, and that's where they want to keep you from going, because that's the one place that they cannot control. They can distract you all with any and everything, but they can't control what goes on an inner level. But that's your problem. That's your, I don't say problem, that's your part that you control. And you control that by whatever you allow in or out of you. Okay, so continuing on through it all, I love you. I love me too. And I'm going to leave it there because, like I said, it's only going to be a short one. Okay, so much love to you all. Have a wonderful day, and continuing on through it all. All right, peace out.